Good morning, everybody. I was in New York just a short time ago. I was speaking to a large dinner, and there was a huge crowd and a waiter assigned to take care of the people at the head table. And I said to him, "Excuse me, sir, could I have another pat of butter for my potato?" He said, "I'm sorry, sir, there's only one pat of butter per customer." I said, "Wait a minute, you don't know who I am. I'm a Super Bowl referee. I'm here to talk to all these people today." He said, "Sure, I understand who you are, but you don't know who I am." I said, "Well, you got me there. Who are you?" He said, "I'm the guy that hands out the butter." My first game, I always remember my first game up in New England. By the way, I will tell you, when I played my college football at the Naval Academy, Billy Belichick's father, Steve, was my coach. So you can probably imagine that a lot of football got driven into my head because son Billy has been pretty effective. Anyway, I was up in New England, and it was my first game, and I had the suit fitted, and I was all dressed up, ready to go, walking back and forth before I go out on the field, and a little old lady came up to me and she said, "Excuse me, sir, are you the referee for tonight's game?" I said, "Yes, I sure am." She said, "Are you nervous?" I said, "Oh, I'm never nervous." She said, "What are you doing in the ladies' room?" I want to introduce myself a little bit, just to give you an idea. I officiated football for 41 years. I started with the little guys, the little Pop Warner guys, and went all the way through the chain and ended up in the NFL. So 3 Super Bowls later and 41 years later, here I am to try to help you understand some of the things that maybe you don't hear about or you might be curious about. I promise each time I'm on, at the end of my talk for 15 minutes, I am yours. You ask me whatever you want. You may not agree, and the NFL may not agree with some of the answers I'm going to give you, but I'll start out by saying I'm old school. I'm old school. And in the years that I worked in the NFL from 76 to 02, in my opinion, were the glory years. I just loved every minute of it. Now we are into electronic football, and it's a little bit different, and I hope we can keep this great game what it is and still maintain the things about it that are really important. One of my titles today is A Crazy World of NFL Officiating, and just to give you an idea of some of the things that happened. Years ago, I was doing a playoff game up at the Jets. They were playing Buffalo, and Richard Todd was the Jets quarterback. I'm sure some of you folks remember him. Well, I'm sitting in the locker room getting ready to go out on the field before the game, and into the dressing room walked 3 huge men with their Stetson hats and their big overcoats. They walked right across the dressing room to me. And I said, "Excuse me?" They said, "Oh, we want to talk to you." They said, "There's been a death threat on Richard Todd today, and we think you should know about it." And it was just before Christmas. I thought, wow, what a Christmas present that is, right? But anyway, they said, "We're not telling anybody else. We're not telling any of the other officials in the game, but we just thought you should know." So I said, "Well, thanks a lot." And I left the dugout there in Shea Stadium and went up and out onto the field. Who comes walking right at me but Richard Todd? And he walks up to me and says, "Hey, Bob," he said, "what are you going to do when they start shooting?" I said, I know you've got a bulletproof vest on. I know you. Look at me." I said, "I don't have anything." I said, "I have no chance here at all." He says, "Well," he says, "I just wanted to know what you were going to do." And I said, "I'm going to stay as far away from you as I possibly can." So in the course of the game, obviously, every time Richard Todd took the football and dropped back to pass, I was back in the end zone. I was as far away from him as I could get. And every time he ran down the field, you know, the referee basically babysits the quarterbacks. And I'm supposed to be right with that quarterback anywhere he goes. Not that day. When he took off down the field, I said to myself, you guys can handle that one. I want no part of it at all. But anyway, those are the kind of things that funny things happen that sometimes you don't realize. Another funny thing was, after flight training, I played more football after college. I was playing for the Air Defense Command in what we called service football. And I had a teammate whose name was Vic Eaton. Vic Eaton was a quarterback at the University of Missouri, drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. We have Steelers. I'll bet you this is a story these folks haven't heard. So anyway, Vic Eaton went to training camp with the Steelers. They had 4 quarterbacks on the roster. They had to cut it to 3. So at the end of training camp, you know how it is, they say, bring your playbook and come see Chuck Noll at the time, and you're probably going to get released. So it was the last day, and Vic figured he was going to get the call. Well, they didn't come around to his room, and they didn't cut him. They cut the other guy. His name was John Unitas. And John went back down to Baltimore. In those days, there was a lot of service football going on and sandlot football. And John started playing there. It was Rosenblum, was that his name? And whoever owned the Colts saw him, hired him, and the rest is history. A lot of things go on out there that you folks never know about that maybe today they can't do. It's a shame because we had a lot of fun out there. I had an umpire working on my crew. I was the referee. The umpire's the guy that works with the big boys. His name was Al Conway. Al Conway was a West Pointer. He was the #1 draft choice of the Philadelphia Eagles in about 1954. Al was really bright. And they paid him $5,000 when they signed him. And he went all through training camp and he decided, you know, this really isn't for me. They weren't paying guys anything at that time. So Al was quite bright, and he went into the chemicals business, and he was one of the inventors of the fiberglass boats when they first started to make them. Anyway, Al was also officiating in the lake because he loved football just like I did. So Al and I are in St. Louis. We're working the St. Louis Cardinals. And Jim Ray Hart is quarterback. Remember that name? So we're going the game, and it's going pretty well. And I hear Al say to Sharp, who was the St. Louis Cardinals left tackle, I'm tired of your mouth. I'm tired of listening to you. He said, you're either going to shut up and play football, or you're holding on the next play. I heard Al say it to him. And I should have said something, but I'm Naval Academy, he's West Pointer. He's not going to listen to me anyway. So I said nothing. So the next play, Jim Ray Hart took the snap, and he pitched it out to the running back who ran right. Sharp's the left tackle. He runs right, and they tackle him for like no gain. It was like a nothing play. And I turned around and looked back. There's that flag laying on the field. I walked back there, and Conway said, Sharp's hold. Take it back 10 yards. So I picked the ball up, I ran it back 10 yards, put it down. And when I got home that night, the supervisor of officials was on the phone. And he said, what in the world are you doing? He said, are you nuts? I said, you call Conway. I said, he's a West Pointer. He thinks for himself. You got a problem? You call Conway. You talk to him about it. Okay. We're looking at a photograph up here. And you know, I get beat on every cruise. Everybody always knows. But I always ask, one of you ladies that hasn't seen this before, would anybody have an idea who that is up there? Yes, ma'am. No. Did I hear it? Katarina Witt. I'm sorry, did I not hear you right? I apologize if I did. That is Katarina Witt. Right about the time, and in fact, a little bit before the wall came down, when Joe Montana was quarterbacking the 49ers, and Walter Payton was at the Bears, and Mike Ditka was the coach, they decided to play a game in the Olympic Stadium in Berlin, Germany, where Hitler and Mussolini marched their stormtroopers, and Jesse Owens, of course, ran that famous 100-yard dash a lot of you have heard about. So they decided to have a game there. The two clubs went over, I went over as a referee. So I went out on the field before the game, and of course looking around at all of the terrible history that happened in that area was kind of an emotional thing for me. But I'm standing on the sideline, and they brought this young lady up to me, and they said, "This is Katarina Witt, the Olympic skating champion. Would you take her out to the center of the field for the toss of the coin?" I said, "Sure, I'd be glad to do that." So I was standing next to her. I met her, and she put her hand on my arm, and she said, "Bob, there's something you should know." She said, "I'm East German." And she said, "These people don't like me." And she said, "In Europe, they don't boo, they whistle." So she said, "When you take me out to the center of the field, these people are all going to whistle, and that means they're booing." I said, "Young lady, you got nothing on me." I said, "I go out to the center of every stadium in my country," and I said, "they boo me all the way out, and they boo me all the way back." Okay, I'll tell you a little bit about this video. When I retired, I had done a lot of things, charity work, muscular dystrophy and March of Dimes, whatever, for NFL Films during my career. And the owner of NFL Films, the team owns NFL Films, but the president, Steve Sabo, called me into his office and he said, "You know, Bob, I know you're retiring. We're going to make for you a video of your career. And we're going to waive all of our rights to it as long as you use it for charity or you use it for cruising." And I said, "Boy, that's really great." So they did it. I want you to know I had no input in what is in this film and what is not in the film. You're going to see what NFL Films put in there. They set the music beautifully, and I hope you can appreciate the music because I'll be stopping it as we go through my different presentations, because there are 1,000 funny things and different things that I talked about a little bit already that are included in this film. You're going to see the greatest that I ever think played, and that's Walter Payton. You're going to see the most colorful coach I think we've ever had, and that's John Madden. You're going to see Joe Montana. You're going to see the old Steelers, Franco, and so there's a lot here to see. I'm going to start stepping through it today, but I will stop at 15 minutes, and I'm all yours for questions. And don't hesitate to ask anything you want, because they can't fire me now. I'm not out there anymore, so I'll tell you what I think. And I have a lot of strong opinions. I guess I would have been able to do that work. Okay, so let's take a little start here and see what we come up with. And back in my pocket. Yes, sir. Thank you.